Greetings, brothers and sisters, and welcome to TWU Local 100 Virtual Mass Membership Assembly to recap the year that just concluded. I am proud to bring you the Local 100 President's Report on the state of our union for 2021. This time last year, we were all dealing with the enormous problems of the Delta variant surge. This year, it's the Omicron surge. Next year, who knows? Maybe this persistent pandemic that has turned our society upside down will mercifully be behind us. But for now, we will deal with the obstacles that have been placed in our path as we have always done. At the outset, I am happy to say that the state of our union remains strong. Over the past 12 months, we have pushed ahead on all fronts to protect and improve the livelihoods of our membership through collective bargaining, safety initiatives, reduction of disciplinary action, fighting against the assaults on the job, and a continued all-hands-on-deck response to the pandemic. We recently concluded our elections for union-wide and divisional offices. The votes were counted on December 8, 2021, and I wish to thank you all for re-electing me as president of our great union for another term. It is our privilege to work on your behalf to continually improve our jobs and the circumstances of our lives. I pledge to work closely with all those who you elected to represent you on the job. We are all ready, willing, and able to take on all challenges for 2022. In 2021, Local 100 was focused on battling back against the pandemic. Beginning in late spring, it appeared as if the pandemic was finally burning out. It would have been easy to let down our guards, but we didn't. We made sure that important safety protocols that we fought so hard to achieve during the darkest days of the pandemic in 2020 remained in place. That conviction is now paying off as we deal with the latest surge. Hopefully, the Omicron will pass quickly so that we can get back to more normal day-to-day schedules. While safety remained our top priority, we pushed hard in the political arena to secure funding for the MTA, to secure our jobs, our wages, and our benefits. We worked closely with our TWU International and the Biden administration to secure more than $14 billion in overall relief for the MTA. As a result, we successfully secured the jobs, paychecks, and benefits for all 40,000 Local 100 members employed by the MTA. No layoffs, no furloughs. We negotiated a sensible vaccination policy for transit workers that includes the option of getting the vaccine or being tested on a regular basis. This helped us avoid workplace vaccine mandates, which have caused so much division among workers in our city and in our nation. Personally, I'm fully vaccinated, and I urge all Local 100 members to get the vaccine if you haven't already done so. I became sick with COVID this past summer, and while it wasn't a pleasant experience, I weathered the illness in a week or so. I'm convinced that the vaccine kept me from being hospitalized or worse. Despite COVID, or maybe because of it, the number of serious assaults on transit workers that began increasing in 2020 continue into 2021. The surge in violence against both workers and passengers seems to coincide with a surge in the number of homeless and mentally ill inhabiting the system. We campaigned hard in the media to bring public focus to this crisis. We met one-on-one with NYPD and elected politicians to counter Mayor de Blasio's ridiculous public statements that the subway is safe to ride. Our battle for the safer subway has paid off. In February 2021, NYPD deployed 500 more cops to the subway system. The NYPD Transit Bureau added 150 more. And then finally, in May, after months of being in denial, Mayor de Blasio ordered an additional 250 cops into the system. All in all, almost 1,000 more cops are in the system today than we had before the pandemic. This would not have happened without persistence on this issue. I am also happy to say that our new mayor, Eric Adams, and Governor Kathy Hochul recently announced a joint city and state campaign to remove homeless people from the subway system by getting them the help they need to restart their lives. Local 100 pushed hard to get Eric Adams elected. His signature campaign message that crime in the subway system was creating an unacceptable, dangerous environment for New Yorkers enabled him to win a tough primary in June and then the general election in November. So far, he has been true to his word that he would make the system safer. He has announced that the transit police will be ordered to patrol the old-fashioned way, to ride and walk through trains instead of convening on mezzanines. He also pledged that the police officers sitting behind desks would be placed into the transit system, and he's instructing officers in cars and on street patrol to park their vehicles and go into the subway station to increase the uniform presence even more. It's a good start, and we intend to support his efforts to make our workplace more secure from violent criminals. We should all be happy that Local 100 members have a real friend in City Hall for the first time in 30 years. We scored on two other important political campaigns in 2021. First, we worked closely with the TWU International to help pass President Biden's infrastructure bill. This bill means that billions of dollars will be supporting the MTA's capital plan. This means significant new work for Local 100 members. The bill also includes a union-endorsed anti-assault mandate. Now, employers like the MTA must cooperate with the union to reduce assaults as a condition to receive infrastructure money. All in all, this legislation is a major win for TWU. The second big win came in Albany as we successfully lobbied Governor Hochul to sign a landmark diesel bill on October 29, 2021. The bill allows a family to file for death benefits through workers' compensation for a diesel-related cancer or lung disease. The bill especially impacts the families of transit retirees who for years filed death benefits due to diesel exposure only to be routinely rejected. This bill gives them a second chance to achieve a monetary settlement. While most public attention on crime and assault centered on the subway crime, the union steadfastly continued to push ahead to make the job safer for our bus operators. We began negotiations with the MTA for the installation of secure cockpit-style operator compartments on all MTA buses to eliminate the threat of assaults by passengers. This, in addition to our victory for more secure driver enclosures for bus operators in the past couple of years. On the contract front, we successfully negotiated a new 5-year agreement for our brothers and sisters at Liberty Lines Transit in Yonkers. In addition to 5 annual wage increases, the union secured a much improved dental plan, a significant increase in the annual pension multiplier, and an important revision to the sick policy. In our school buses, we won new contracts with Quality Transportation in Brooklyn and Super Shelby Transportation in Yonkers. These agreements have made our members at these companies the highest paid school bus workers in New York. We have current agreements with all of our school bus companies. We also secured a new contract for our big bus members in New York that will provide a big financial gain for these workers who have been particularly impacted by the pandemic. Overall, the union has either settled or is in currently negotiations on all agreements covering Local 100 members. This includes negotiations for a new contract for our career and salary members at the MTA. We won 2 very important job-saving fights through the actions in New York State Supreme Court. First, the union forced the MTA to reverse its decision to keep the F and the C train schedules at pandemic levels permanently. The company relented after we filed suit in court and then shined a public light on their plans in several high-profile press conferences. Secondly, the MTA abandoned its attempt to eliminate lunch reliefs for station agents, which would have closed booths throughout the system for up to 1.5 hours a day. We proved in court that the MTA's opinion that leaving booths empty was no big deal was total nonsense. We argued and the court agreed that such a move would create an unsafe environment for all riders, in particular handicapped passengers. We also scored a big win for TW Work in car equipment. We lobbied the MTAs to keep the overhaul the company's current diesel fleet of work trains to cleaner burning, lower emission work trains in-house. This is a vital win in the battle to keep work from going to the contractors. I applaud our CED officers for an outstanding job to protect our turf. At the very end of 2021, we were forced to once again fend off Mayor de Blasio's obsessive bid to ban horse carriages from Central Park. We answered back through the media that the mayor's efforts had zero to do with concerns for horses, but in fact has always been rooted in a payoff to big real estate campaign donors. These donors lust to develop properties currently housing the horse stables. We enlisted support for our position from 30 other unions representing hundreds of thousands of public and private sector workers. Mayor Adams does not support a carriage ban, but some members of New York City Council do. Therefore, the fight to protect the jobs of our TW horse carriage drivers and stable hands is not over. On disciplinary actions, we make a great deal of headways to reduce the number of write-ups of our members by transit bosses. We intend to make this positive trend permanent in labor management relations. As we look forward towards our next contract negotiations with the MTA, we are determined to win hazard pay for working during the height of the pandemic. We used last July's ticker tape parade for essential workers as a platform to draw attention to our campaign for hazard pay. Transit workers heroically kept this city moving during the pandemic, therefore preventing a wholesale collapse of New York's economy. We won vital public support for our efforts from Mayor Eric Adams, State Attorney General Tish James, and Senator Chuck Schumer. We are determined to win this fight. We continue the fight in Albany to achieve Tier 6 pension reform. We are seeking first to eliminate the Tier 6 overtime cap. We are also fighting to equalize Tier 6 payroll deductions with Tier 4. Also, on Tier 6, we found that the MTA had been incorrectly deducting Tier 6 contributions on all earnings, including those over and above the pension cap overtime. At the end of the year, members affected by this snafu began getting refunds for 2021. The MTA must also provide refunds for overpayments for previous years. We are continuing to closely monitor the situation to ensure that the MTA is getting it right. In late September, we dedicated a respectful memorial to our members who were lost to the COVID-19 virus. It was a very moving ceremony, made even more special by the presence of so many of the surviving transit families, as well as New York's Attorney General Letitia James and Mayor Eric Adams. The next time you are at the Union Hall, take a few minutes to view the memorial and reflect on the impact the pandemic has had on transit families. In 2021, we also established a scholarship in memory of train operator Garrett Goebel, who was murdered in an intentionally set fire on his train in March of 2020. This scholarship will help keep Brother Goebel's memory and sacrifice fresh in our thoughts. We work so hard to provide a safe working environment for our members, but violence perpetrated on transit workers by this city's criminal element just adds to these concerns. On training and upgrade, we have now completed 4 apprenticeship classes that enable members in the lowest paid titles to work their way up to the highest paid titles in maintenance away. It is one of the most important programs because it demonstrates how a union improves the lives of its members over and above contract and grievances. Finally, I would like to take a moment to remember our former Local 100 and International President, Sonny Hall. Sonny died January 13, 2022 while in hospice care. He was 89 years old and had been retired since 2004. Sonny Hall was one of the most dynamic and effective leaders that Local 100 ever produced. He served our union as an elected officer for nearly 35 years, including 9 years as president from 1985 to 1993. He served our international union as president for 11 years from 1993 until his retirement in 2004. I first met Sonny in the early 80s when I started my union career as a power division officer. Sonny's level of dedication to this membership, his hard work, and his dynamic leadership qualities were always an inspiration to me and to many other young leaders. Sonny could pick up the phone and speak to the governors, mayors, and even presidents. Yet his focus was always one thing: to win for TWU members and their families. Sonny's contribution to Local 100 and our international union have made thousands of lives better in Local 100 and TWU locals across the country, including members today who never met him. We are all in Sonny's debt. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for tuning in. It's an honor to serve as your president.